What's going on, guys? So a couple months ago, I made a video about why the M4 Pro MacBook Pro is not made for you and why you don't need the MacBook Pro. But people were asking me, well, if I don't need this laptop, what am I supposed to buy? At the time, there was no M4 MacBook Air until Tim put out a tweet saying that there's something in the air. He proceeded to drop the iPad and iPad Air, which was cool. But he did a mic drop today, which is the new MacBook Air, as well as the new Mac Studio with the M3 Ultra chip and the M4 Max chip. So Tim definitely delivered. You know who else finally delivered on this channel? I'm happy to say our sponsor, nobody. So similar to my iPhone SE announcement video, I'm just going to skim through the newsroom on the official report by Apple and then go to the comparison to see what is different from the previous generation, as well as the first gen MacBook Air, as well as, what people are still using on the Intel side. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So it's nice that we still have a $999 price tag right below that $1,000. Tariffs, by the way, are going up, but still Apple's providing us with these price tags for now, hopefully. We have a new color as well, sky blue. I'm gonna say it right now, this is the best color by Apple. People are going to say, wait till you see it in person, but trust me, I know this is going to be the best color. Anyway, so it's saying that it has center stage camera, which is great. If you have never used center stage, trust me, if you get this laptop, you're probably not going to want to live without it. 18 hours of battery life, as well as external display support. So that's also really good. So scrolling through real quick, Apple released this, macOS Sequoia, yada, yada, yada. Guys, look at this. Look at this. It's beautiful. Okay. Sky blue is the new color. I don't know if it's an addition of what they currently have. Civ 6 or Civ 7, excuse me. Interesting that they're showing that for the M4 performance, but I guess you can run Civ 7. I'd probably wait till it's like 2 years when the game is actually released. But Apple Intelligence, I would say this isn't really that big of a deal breaker because even M1 laptops, so like this MacBook Air that came out 4-5 years ago, does Apple Intelligence no problem. Moving along, always ready camera, center stage, great addition. Like as you can see here in this example, right, even though your camera is facing front, you can still get like a desk view due to like the ultra wide lens. So really happy about, this center stage being added to the MacBook Air finally for so long. And then also enhanced display support. So looks like we can yada 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 for users spread of the work. 2 6K external displays in addition to its built-in liquid retina display. So I would actually say this is good. I know some people might argue that, people who are probably pushing 2 6K external displays are probably using like a MacBook Pro or even like a Mac Studio. But with that being said, it's nice that the capability is good that it's offered in the M4 MacBook Air because, if you already have these displays and you don't really need that much horsepower, you want to just plug it in temporarily, the MacBook Air can do it. And it can do too, which is great. Reliability, it's yada yada, all the same. 15-inch model is still coming in. Touch ID, I don't even know how that's a selling point. It's been on the laptops for over 10 years. macOS Sequoia, better environment, yada, yada, yada. All right, so for this comparison, I have the M1 MacBook Air, the M3 MacBook Air, and the M4 MacBook Air. Took a little while for the M4 to come out, but it's finally here. So it looks like the color that replaced the M3 models and below is space gray in favor of midnight. I think that's a pretty fair trade. Midnight is a better space gray in my opinion. Sky blue, I'm telling you guys, is going to be the best color. Just a quick overview. Looks like the Retina display is 0.3 inches bigger, so it's similar to what we have had before ever since the M2 MacBook Air all the way up until now. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, this is still using like the older style Intel where everything is still kind of a box, but moving over to M2 and the liquid Retina display that Apple's putting on the M2 MacBook Air and above, it has that notch and it's just pushed the bezels out a little bit more and to get more screen real estate. Obviously, we have new chips. Like I said, Apple Intelligence across the board. So if you really want Apple Intelligence, this laptop is still good. Came out 5 years ago. CPU-wise, M4 goes up to, not goes up to, it is 10 cores. I think it's 4 performance cores, 6 efficiency cores. GPU-wise, looks to be same as M3. Unified memory, we go up to 32. Storage is the same across the board. 18 hours across the board. Touch ID is all there. So looking at the SoC a little bit more in detail, the chip itself, like I said before, 4 performance cores, 6 efficiency cores, so 2 more than last generation. It comes to the media engine, you know, we can still do the ProRes and ProRes RAW, like last year with the M3 model, but M1 does not have that, and there's no AV1 decoder. There's no ProRes encoder or decoder engine. So if you plan to do editing on the M1 and you do ProRes, you're probably using the wrong machine, but you can probably still do it to some extent. It's going to be a little bit slower. Apple Intelligence is there. It's great. I don't really use it that much, but if you want Apple Intelligence, it's offered. Memory-wise, we still start off at 16 gigs of RAM. Thank you, Apple, for finally moving on. Storage-wise, though, I would have liked to see us move over to 512 as the starting, I guess, configuration when it comes to storage. But hey, it is what it is with the MacBook Air. It's the entry-level model, but once again, still would have liked to see 512 gigs of SSD be standard. This is the display a little bit more in detail, so still similar to last generation. But like I said before, the M1 variant and even the Intel model still use this box shape, so that's really the only difference. Outside of the brightness in the nit count, it goes up to 500 instead of 400. I don't have too much problem using this outdoors or even indoors that much, but just know the M2 MacBook Air all the way up to the M4 MacBook Air that's about to come out, it's going to be pretty easy to use this, no problem. In terms of the display, like I said, it's all pretty much the same, P3 gamut. Size, weight, it's identical down to the centimeter as last generation. Camera-wise, this I think is not getting a big enough selling point, even though it is like at the top of their marketing. But center stage, it's great. I'm so happy that it's here on the MacBook Air M4 variant, just because it makes video calls and just doing meetings or whatever you need to do virtually just a little bit more interactive and more fun. And also with the display or the desk view, right, you're able to see a person's desk if you need to like draw, share notes, stuff like that, while the camera is still stationary. So if you haven't never used center stage, trust me, you're going to enjoy it if this is an upgrade for you. Speaker-wise, looks to be the same as last generation, definitely better than what is here on the M1. And if you have not watched any like M3 MacBook Air video, even M2 MacBook Air video, right, the speakers in the MacBook Air are surprisingly good. I'd say slightly less bass than the MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, excuse me, but the MacBook Air 15-inch speakers are really good. I'd say almost on par with MacBook Pro. Just slightly less bass. Keyboard, trackpad, all the same. Wireless, same as last generation. Compared to the M1, it's Wi-Fi 6E. I think if you have Wi-Fi 6 at a bare minimum, you're fine these days. Going up to Thunderbolt 4, which is great. Touch ID across the board, Apple Pay across the board, Face ID, not Face ID, FaceTime, audio calling, Siri. Battery-wise, seems to be exactly the same as the previous generation, although the battery size has been increasing. Even though the battery size is increasing, the battery life is still the same just because we are getting more power-hungry chips. And that's probably why we have more efficiency cores than we do performance cores. But regardless, I'd say the biggest thing between the M1 MacBook Air and all the ones that came after this are the fast charging capabilities with MagSafe and even with the USB-C port. So if you want fast charge, you gotta get the MacBook Air M4 variant or all the way down to M2. Don't get it if you have M1. Other than that, that pretty much wraps it up for the MacBook Air. So pretty excited. Starting price is still $1,000 despite the tariffs and whatnot. Don't know if it's really gone into an effect or if Apple's like kind of taking that burden or whatnot. Maybe it'll be like a couple months until we actually see those prices start to increase. Who knows? I'm no politician. I don't know about economics. I'm not going to speak on that as if I know, but I'm just happy as a consumer that the MacBook Air is the same price, and at the education store, it's actually $899, so it's actually $900. So take it for what you will. I don't have any links, so there's no like kickback that I get from, you know, promoting the MacBook Air. This is me just doing coverage, announcement over it. But yeah, really happy that the MacBook Air M4 is here. Once again, the MacBook Pro M4 is probably not for you. The MacBook Air is probably for you. I'd say it's probably good for like 98% of people on this planet, maybe even like 99, I'd say. The MacBook Pro, I'd say, is really more for like businesses or people who really need to get like a workhorse machine. or they really just like the display and speakers on the MacBook Pro. That's completely valid as well. Anyway, guys, appreciate every single sub, like, and comment. As always, guys, much love. If you're wondering why I'm not talking about the Mac Studio, M3 Ultra, M2, or M3 Ultra, M4 Max, I'll have a separate video on that because I just want this to be focused on the MacBook Air. Anyway, peace.